Okay, let's continue with the checklist. I've just started the engine. Here you can see the engine parameters, they are all okay. Okay, I will now execute the after start checklist. I want to remark one thing before executing that checklist. I've been flying a lot the plane, I've been learning about the systems, I've been studying the real manual of the plane, and I want to remark some hints about the plane. The question is, if you don't check properly some of the instruments or functions of the plane, they are obviously not working properly. So I want to remark the stall test. Some people is saying in his videos that stall test is not working, but that is not true. Let's see. Here you can see the marking here, it's working, and I keep pushing the stall test, and after 8 seconds it starts to vibrate only the left pedal with some kind of stick shaker. This is correct. In the real plane, like in the real manual of the plane says, it only vibrates the left pedal, not both pedal, but you have to keep the test for more than 8 seconds. Okay, that was just one hint. Let's continue with the checklist. As you remember, I am executing the public checklist published by Aviodev in AD forums. Okay. After start checklist, or what is the same, the before taxi checklist. So GPU off. We are now connected, still connected to the GPU. You can see here the GPU, the ground power unit. So first we disconnect the energy. You can hear the GPU throttling back, and after that we disconnect the cable. Now it is disconnected, it's just no longer there. Generator, you have to reset the generator in order to make this advice disappear. First reset, then on, and the advice has just disappeared. Now the batteries are charging. Yep, what's happening? That one battery was still left in off. Warnings panel, check Xgen out. Generator, test on. The way to check it is first in the up position. The advice still there. Then neutral, reset again. The advice disappears again, and after in the lowest position, reset and reset again. Okay, the advice disappeared. Now, navigation radios, all on. So let's start. Here it is the for ILS. So we started from here. You can see the light. Very realistic. The way that illuminates. Now, TACAN. TACAN is in off mode. We can choose receive, transmitter. Let's choose receive. Another question is the code we should enter here. We have already tested the intercom, but we can see another hint. If we put the volume on, in the beta you must put on turning to the left, but in the real plane is to the right. That will be correct in the final version. Now you have to pull this button, and you can hear some music. And we disable the volume again. Now VHF radio, that is the normal radio that operates in mostly the civilian range of radio frequencies. Now we put on the UHF radio. It's in off, we put on the main. Here you can see it operating. That's the military radio. Communication radios all on. Well, I just have turned it on, both the navigation radios and the communication radios. Backup AD, uncage and check. We have the AD is the artificial horizon, but we have another backup here. We must uncage it. Now it's uncaged, and we adjust it. This tends to fail a lot. This is not a book. This is correct because some instruments depends on an equipment called tarsine, and tarsine is an horizontal gyroscope and vertical gyroscope that gets deviated by doing aromatics or doing violent maneuvers. IFF standby. Here it is the IFF. It's on standby position. Hydraulic pressure. Check green range. Hydraulic pressure is this one. The green range is very narrow. We can see it here. Well, it's correct. It's maintaining inside the green range. Air brake. Test and in. This is the indicator, not the lever. The lever of the air brake is here on the throttle. We can test it now. Now it's out and back to in. If we see it from below, out and in. Nice. Flaps. Test takeoff position. The flaps lever is here. Takeoff. And the indicator is here. Only indicator, not actuator. Takeoff. And down. You see from outside. This is the down position. Takeoff. Neutral. And leave from takeoff position. Roll trim, check. Well, we can adjust the trim. The trim is working both in roll and elevator axis, but what is not working in this beta for the moment is the indicator. So if we test the trim, we will not know what is the real position of the trim. We better not adjust it for the moment, just because this is a beta version. When it will be the final version, it will work, as I just said, by developers. Elevator trim tone breaker. Panel breaker is here, and all the breakers are in. All them are working, and the elevator trim tone breaker is one of these, and it's in. All them are in. Emergency pitch trim, test and set minus 1.5 degrees. Yeah. We open the lever. This is the down and up positions in the emergency trim lever. Set it back to position. I will not operate it for the moment. Pitot head, test and as required. This position is on and off. Stall warning system, check on. It's the on position. Check. Engine anti-ice, test and as required. Anti-ice on and off. Engine computer, test and off. We push the button, now it's off. The light has illuminated the off position. Now it's not working. So with the engine computer switch off, the engine is still working. There's an advisor. Here is the advisor active. It's the computer is not working. And when we put this on again, it should disappear the advice. Landing lights, test and off. It has two positions, the taxi and the landing lights. You can see it now, one moving. The left landing light, and we move now the right landing light. Now you can see the right landing light is in the landing position. It is brighter than the left landing light that I have only on the taxi position. It looks correct. Now both on the landing position. I put them off. Both off. Cockpit illumination, test and as required. We have the light for the instruments. Even when by day it looks good, by night is a very interesting thing. It simply looks awesome. And the console light. But there are more lights. Cockpit on. There's a cockpit light. When we leave the cockpit light on, we can see this light and this other light. These are named the storm lights, two on each cockpit. And now we can adjust the tone of the other lights. This is the red light. We have 5 lights. We see it now moving. 1, 2. You can see also the zone illuminated by the red light is also moving. 2 lights. 3. In the real manual of the plane it says there are 7, but I can see only 5 installed. 4 and 5. There's a 6th light here. This is a lantern. This lantern is movable. You can adjust it to any position in the plane, in the real plane, but here is not operational. For the moment these lights are red, but we can switch the color to more white. External illumination. We already have from the startup, the anti-collision light on. It should be the beacon light. We can see it working here in the top of the tail. This light is mostly to indicate to ground crews there's somebody inside the cockpit that is about to start the plane. So the rest of the outside lights, the position lights are green from one side, white on the tail, and red on the left wingtip, just like the ships and many other planes. This is international. And the other light formation lights are small green lights in the nose, in the wingtips, and in the lower part of the rudder, and also in the back of on the rear seat. Very nice. This plane has a lot of lights inside and outside. Instruments, check. Variometer is marking 0. Altimeter is set to standard pressure. The airspeed indicator is marking 0. The G indicator is marking 1G. This variation maybe indicates vibrations on the plane. We can set it to 1. The gyroscopes have been set between them. This is the gyro directional, and this is the horizontal indicator. You can select in this button to which instrument slave it. Now it's currently slaved to the compass, marking the same, and the compass, the only instrument of the plane that does not need any energy to work, marking the same. The rest of the instruments are all in green. The N2, ITT, N1, fuel flow, normal, oil temperature, oil pressure, voltimeter, 28 volts, flaps on takeoff, speed brake inside, and advice panels only with a cockpit block because we have the cockpit open up to now. Okay, oxygen test normal. The oxygen valve is still set on the open position. A is open, C is closed. It's in the normal value. We can check here. Oxygen is circulating, and this is the cabin altitude pressure indicator, so it's like an altimeter. Canopy closed and blocked. Let's close the canopy. We have a lever here. Now it's closed, but the cabin blocking advice is still lit, so we have to block the cockpit with this lever. Now it's locked and the advice has disappeared. Warnings panel, check. Block cabin out, air conditioning reset and on, air conditioner first reset, it was on position, now we leave it again on position. Temperature automatic, ejection seat pins remove and show to ground crew and stow. Okay, the ejection seat pins is below this side. In the rear plane we remove the pins and show to the ground crew that's supposed to be beside the plane. Okay, this is a virtual plane. We don't need to do that. Taxi clearance request. Now we should contact tower. As this is a beta, there's no possibility to contact tower up to now. We just finished the after start checklist and we continue with the taxi checklist. So chocks out. Chocks was already out. Parking brake in. The parking brake is here. In and push the brake manually. Brakes test when we start to taxi. So we push the throttle a little bit forward. Checking brakes. You can see it here, checking brakes. Don't mind the undercarriage model, it will be changed on the final version. Okay, taxi thrust, maximum 76% N2. I'm looking here. So 75.7, and I do not leave the plane accelerate. We're still executing the checklist. Controls, check full and free. Ailerons and rudder. A little brake. Okay. Engine instruments, check. Okay, and okay. Fuel transfer pumps. All on. All on. The question of the fuel system is that we have a main fuselage tank, and the other 3 tanks are passing their fuel to the main fuselage tank. These 3 tanks are one in the left wing, on the right wing, and on the center section of the wing. Each one has at least one fuel pump. This pump does not pump fuel into the engine, but in the fuselage tank. The center has 2 pumps. This green light indicates that the fuel is passing from these 3 tanks to the main fuselage tank. Okay, we stop before entering runway, set power to idle. Fuselage tank pump, where it should be the main fuel pump, is this one. The light is closed, so it's working in this case. Fuel quantity selector is this one. It's indicating fuselage, so this instrument is marking how many fuel are there in the fuselage tank. The main fuel valve is this one. The light should be closed, like in the main fuel pump. This is very important. If one of the 2 lights is on, it means it's closed. Air brake, check in. Flaps, check takeoff. Landing gear, check 3 green. Warnings panel, no lights. Harness, check. Well, we are supposed to have the harness adjusted. Trims, we cannot check it, but when the indicator will be operable in the final version, we must check that vertical trim is marked to do minus 1.5 and 0 degrees on roll axis. Okay, that's the end of the taxi checklist. Now go for before entering runway checklist. Canopy, check closed and locked. Anti-skid, test and on. The anti-skid is this button. Test now is off. We leave it on position. Altimeter, check QNH, standard QNH. So this is the altitude of the airfield, 110 feet. Pitot head, on. Seat clamp, released. Another check for the seat on the rear plane. Ignition mode continuous. It is the same button as the startup one, but the continuous ignition position is this one, and the yellow light is lit up. IFF code, set the code, and the master on normal. Airflow selector, check cabin. The 2 positions are canopy or cabin, like in the cars, it's the same. Nav aids, check nav aids, check and identify. So the VOR ILS and the TACAN should be adjusted to the frequencies we will use on flight. Navigation instruments set. If you are about to use the navigation instruments, we can set it here. We will take off just on visual flight, so it's not necessary for now. Approach area clear. No planes on final. Now we must communicate to tower. They give us clear to enter online. Here we are. Lineup checklist. ID test 0, 0 and 0. I assume it means it's not deviating, so same indicating, and same indication. 0 compass, X check, cross check, runway heading. We have not the numbers of the runway. It is curious. This runway has not numbers. Anti-ice as required. I leave it off. There are no expected icing conditions. Engine instruments check. Again, one more time. Green, and green. Voltage check. Minimum 28 volts. Checked. C-101 cleared for takeoff. Runway with no number. Wind calm. And now we must respond. Fine. We just finished the before takeoff checklist. On the rear manual of the plane, it says a procedure to take off that is as following. First, we push the brakes, set maximum power slowly, wait for engine parameters to stabilize, and one should be at least 97% stabilizing. Okay, and we release the throttle and 3, 2, 1 now, and start moving. At first, below 40 knots. We can use the differential brake. We check the airspeed indicator is moving, it's alive, all green. We will rotate at 100, rotating, and check position. Positive climb, gear up. We can move gear up after 120 knots, and we must put back the flaps in the up position before reaching 190 knots. And we are flying. It is very important to check the controls. This plane requires that the custom keys are set. The custom keys we need at least are the GPU connection and the landing gear toggle. Yes, we must set it here even if we have it set it by default, or it won't work.